Okay, in this tutorial, you'll learn how to have your character walk. As your character walks, you'll have the appearance of your character holding their blaster weapon. Your character will be able to have the appearance of jumping with their blaster weapon. When you left click and hold the mouse, your character will fire the blaster weapon. Wherever the mouse moves, your character will aim at the mouse. When the mouse goes the other direction, your character will flip to aim with the mouse. You'll learn how to do that. Also, if you notice, when I left click on the mouse, the character shakes. So the character is actually shaking as the character fires the blaster weapon. So that's what you're going to learn as you work your way through this tutorial. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to click on our player character. So I clicked, it's highlighted blue. Now I'm going to double click. I'm going to scroll down. We have these two options, edit hitboxes as well as edit points. We want to go to edit hitboxes. I'm going to left click here. The reason why we're in here is to make things look like our character is actually standing on the ground. We're going to scroll down. See right here, this is important. See how these are highlighted blue? Share same collision mask for all animations. Share same collision mask for all sprites of this animation. It's important that these are highlighted blue. What we're going to do is, let me show you this. This box right here, when we bring a sprite in, the sprite automatically has a collision box put on it by Gdevelop. So when you look here, see how this box comes down here? See the space here? This is the space that's making it look like our character is above the platform. So we need to reduce this space to bring it up to about here. The way we can do that is we're going to click use a custom collision mask. We're going to left click there. Once we do that, we have to click this plus button to the right. Now we see these four dots here. So what we want to do is we're going to grab this one dot, or both of these, pull these down. This is basically going to be what our character stands on. So we're making this so that the character will basically interact with the platform from right here. So since this is above where the bottom of the character is at, this should make it look like the character is actually standing on the ground. We need to pull these dots up so that they're near the top of the character, because basically Gdevelop is going to be looking at this area to just work with our characters. How does our character interact with the world? So what I'm doing now is just adjusting this to try to make it fairly square-like and to make sure that it's around our character. It doesn't have to be totally around our character, just the main mass of the character. With that done, I'm going to click close, and then I'm going to click apply. Now I'm going to click this preview button. And now our character is not sitting, hovering above this. Now the character looks like it's behind here. This is because of the Z order of things. We'll fix this, but the collision mask is correct. So what I'm going to do is click here. When I click on a character, see this properties panel right here? This Z order determines the order of things from front to back. So 1 is all the way back, 2 is not all the way back. So when we're clicked on a player character, its Z order is 1, which is all the way back. When we click on the ground, its Z order is 2. So what we're going to do is I'm going to click on a player character, which is 1. I'm going to change this Z order actually to 4. And then just click off. Here, everything disappeared because I clicked right here. But now when I clicked here, you can see the Z order's 4. The Z order for this is 2. So now with the Z order for this ground being 2, and our player character's Z order being 4, that 4 Z order should make it seem like our character's actually standing on this ground now. So let's click the preview button. And now you can see it looks like our player character is actually standing on the ground now, which is what we want. Okay, now let's set things up so that our player character animates when it moves. So right here we're in this this scene, which is called new scene, right? This is where we do our artwork, where we work with our artwork. We bring sprites in, pull them on into our main screen. We're going to click on new scene events. Now in this area is where we actually do our visual programming at. So the first thing we want to do is look to this plus button. or this, looks like a box with a plus button on it. It says add new event, add new empty event. We hover over this. We're going to left click on this. Then we did that. We see this add condition and then add actions. Add condition, add action. In Gdevelop, the way that things work are that condition pretty much says when something happens, and then action says what to do when that something happens. So what we want to do is the first thing we're doing is we're setting up animation for our player character. So we're going to click add action, and we're going to go and look for our platform behavior. We're going to left click here. And then what we're going to do is we're looking for when our player character is on the floor. So we're going to left click here. So then this is saying check if the object is on a platform. This is our player character. We're going to click player. And then with that done, we're going to click OK. Okay, in Gdevelop, there's multiple ways of doing things. This is a way that's fairly quick, as this is a blaster tutorial, not mainly an animation tutorial. We're going to take the fairly quick way that works well. So what we first have is we have this event right here. The event is composed of a condition as well as an action. Now we want a sub-event. A sub-event will be dependent on this. What's that mean? That means that everything that is a sub-event after this will deal with the fact that our player character is on the floor. Hopefully as we work our way through it, this will make more sense to you. So it's important that where you click at in Gdevelop, right? See when I click on the bottom of this, see this blue outline, this blue line is underneath both our condition and our action. If I click, okay, there's nothing there to click on. Here we go. If I click here, see how this is just, when I say this selection is just on the players on the floor. It's important where you click. So when I click here, we're just on the conditions on the floor. When I click here, we have this blue outline going over the whole event. Right now, we want this outline to be over the whole event. And then we want to go to this button right here, and we hover over it. We see it says add a sub-event to the selected event. So we're going to left click on that. And now we have a sub-event. A sub-event is composed of a condition as well as an action. Like I previously mentioned, it's dependent on this condition here, though. Okay, so what are we going to do with this sub-event? We're going to click Add Condition. We're going to go to Platform Behavior, similar to what we did before. This time we're going to go to Is Moving, and then we're dealing with the player. So we're going to left-click on Player. Then we're going to click OK. Okay, when we were setting up our player character, we brought in sprites for animations, and we name those animations. And those names are important. The reason why those names are important is because we're going to use them to help set up the animation for our player character. So what we're going to do now is we're going to click Add Action. So a condition says when the player is moving, and then action says what do you want to happen. That's what we're setting up now. So we're going to click Add Action. We're going to go to Sprite, Animations and Images. Gdevelop it's very nice because it is something that the way it's set up is it just makes sense to me as an artist. On this channel, we try to focus on making games from the artist's perspective, and just want to point out it's nice because whenever you're new to a program, you're going to have to work with the program to figure things out. However, within a fairly short amount of time, as you work with Gdevelop, things make they make sense. So anyway, what we want to do is we're going to go to where we see change the animation by name. So we're going to left click here. The animation we want to work with as far as the object, or the object we want to work with is the player. So we're going to click that. So here's the animation name. So we need to put in the exact name that we put for the animation that we want to happen, which is the walk animation. So we named it walk. So I'm going to left click here. And I put in walk. Now I put in quotations. I put this walk in quotations. In Gdevelop, there's certain words that are made by Gdevelop, and typically you might not have to put in quotations. However, when we choose to name something, often that what we choose to name that name is going to be in between quotations, letting Gdevelop know that we made it. When you work with Gdevelop, like I named this walk. So I would recommend that you be careful of naming things. Like make a choice if you want to have something say walk or walking. because you can forget. So if you get used to saying, okay, I want to have something walk and jump, and instead of having walking, you name it walk, or jumping, you name it jump, then you can sit there and say, oh yeah, I don't tend to put ings on things. So in saying that, you can always go back and then check just by clicking on the player object. So with this set up, we're going to click OK. Okay, now I'm going to click the play button or preview button. So you can see here's our player character here. So now when I press walk, our character walks. However, the character doesn't turn around and the character doesn't stop walking. So we're going to click the X button, get out of that preview. Okay, so let's set things up so that the player character stops walking once they stop walking. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on player is on the floor, because whether a character is moving or not moving, the player is still important that we know that Gdevelop knows that the player is on the floor. So with this first condition clicked on, so we have this highlighted blue going underneath the condition as well as the action. Now what we're going to click is we're going to click add a sub event to the selected event. So now you can see here's this new sub event, right? So we're going to click add condition. We're going to go down to platform behavior, and we're going to go to is moving. We're going to select player. Now what we want to do is work with when the character isn't moving. So what we can do is, even though we click is moving, we can click this invert the condition. So this means the player is not moving. So when the player isn't moving, this is what we want to happen. So now we're going to click OK.